All right, welcome back to Data Math Concepts. Today, what we're looking at is we're going to be using the parallel line and the transversal in order to solve the algebraic problems that we may encounter as we go along. So what we're going to do first is to take a look at this question right here for x, right? So in this case, we're solving for x. So in order for us to solve for x, based on this context that we got, we have to actually have some information as it relates to what do we know about the information that we got here. So here we have an angle here that is valued, the expression for it is actually 21x plus 6. And there's an indication up here that is suggesting that this angle here is 90 degrees. We know that based on the symbol here, right? So that little square in the corner suggests that this is 90. But how do we use this to solve the problem? Firstly, these two angles, right? We have to identify them. We have to know what they are in order to make the link. So these two angles here at 90 and 21x plus 6 are actually their alternate exterior angles, right? And when we say exterior angles, we're talking about they're not between the parallel lines. So angles from here, these would have been between. So these would have been interior between the parallel lines. But these angles are not between it. So they are exterior. So they are outside of the parallel line. Now, if you take a look, this is the transversal. The transversal is a line that cuts across two or more lines. In this case, it cuts across two parallel lines. Transversal actually creates a certain relationship between the parallel lines. So we are looking at alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we have alternate exterior angles. And these angles are congruent. So then I can say that 21x plus 6 is congruent to the 90-degree angle. Congruence suggests that they're equal. So at this moment, you could see I have an equation that I can use to solve for x. What I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So I'll be left with 21x, which is now equal to 84. And then from this, I'm going to divide both sides by 21. So x is equal to 4. So in this case, as you see, we were able to take alternate exterior angles, make the link that they're congruent, which suggests that they're equal, form an equation with the ideas that we got, and then solve the problem. Let's take a look at the second case. These two angles, though, they're on the same side of the transversal. One is outside, one is inside. As in, there's one which is between the two parallel lines, and there's one that is on the outside. But if you take a closer look, you're going to notice that these angles here, right? These angles are actually in the same position in that little corner to the left of the transversal, in that little corner to the left. So they are corresponding angles. So at this moment, we're going to indicate that these angles are corresponding angles. What do we know about corresponding angles? Corresponding angles are congruent. So 11x minus 2 is congruent to the 75 degrees. Congruent suggests that they are equal. So I can now put an equal sign between them. And at this moment, I'm able to solve for x. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So 11x is equal to 77. and then we divide both sides by 11. X is equal to 7. So there it is. We're utilizing corresponding angles to solve a problem. Let's take a look at another problem here. This problem that we're looking at, we're seeing where we have 132 here, and then we have this angle here. Both angles are within the parallel line. So if you take a look, these angles are between the parallel lines. So because they're between the parallel lines, I'm thinking interior. But then if you take a look at the transversal, here it is. You're going to realize like one is at the top to the left, the other is at the bottom to the right. So this one is at the top and it's to the left of the transversal, and this one is at the bottom and it's to the right of the transversal. It is suggesting that these angles are alternate angles and they are inside. So they are called alternate interior, right? So they are alternate interior angles. Now, they also would form a Z. And sometimes Z may not look like a real Z, but you could see this, the idea of a Z coming. So we say Z angles are, are equal. So these angles are actually congruent. So what I'm going to use here, I'm going to use alternate interior angle. So these two angles are alternate interior, and I'm able to use them to solve the problem. Alternate interior angles are congruent. So x plus 139 is equal to 132 because they are equal. At this moment, I'm going to subtract 139 from both sides. So you could see that x is equal to -7. So there it is. So we're able to solve these problems by applying one of those special relationships between two parallel lines and a transversal. Let's take a look at the last problem. Now for this problem, we're going to try to find the value of the angle in bold. So this angle here is bold, and we're not just going to find the x, we're going to try to solve for that angle. Let's take a closer look on what's going on. We're noticing though that this angle and this angle, they are actually between the parallel line. So because they're between the parallel lines, I'm going to be thinking interior. But they're interior and they're on the same side. They're both to the right of the transversal. So we can look at them as interior same side. Or we could see them as consecutive angles. So let's take a look. We're looking at it as we have interior same side. So it's interior same side. Also, we are seeing that these are consecutive angles. So we have consecutive interior. Whenever we have parallel lines and we have consecutive interior or interior same side, then they are supplementary. And supplementary angles add to give 180 degrees. So then it means then that x plus 96 plus x plus 96 do add together to give 180 degrees. From this, I could now simplify the idea. If I should connect the like terms, 2x plus 192 is equal to 180. In my quest to solve for x, I'm going to subtract 192 degrees from both sides. So 2x is now equal to -12. Dividing both sides by 2, x is equal to -6. Now, this is not the solution to the problem, but this is a value for x. I need to substitute -6 for x, then I'll be able to find a value for this entire angle here. So let us substitute -6 for x. For example, x plus 96 is an expression that describes the angle that we need to find a value for. At this moment, we're going to substitute -6 for x. So -6 plus 96 will give us 90 degrees. So this is suggesting that the angle here is 90 degrees. Thank you for watching Daily Maths Concepts. And see you next time as we look at some more ideas.